Hi, I'm Stephen Orr from Better Homes and Gardens, and today we're going to talk about one of our most popular holiday plants, poinsettias. Poinsettias, or poinsettias, you can call them either way, they were first brought to the U.S. by a diplomat to Mexico in the early 1800s, Dr. Joel Poinsett. Now, poinsettias have been known, and since as long as I've been alive, have been very popular holiday plants, but really they are tropical plants. They just happen to bloom and can be coaxed to bloom at the same time as our holiday season. So in its natural habitat, which is kind of dry forests in Central America and Mexico, it actually grows very, very tall, but this is how we normally see them, as small potted plants. The most common type of poinsettia is just the red and the green variety, but breeders have been hard at work all these decades finding new ways to get broader color ranges. They're getting soft peaches like this one up here. They're getting greens and chartreuse colors, and they're even getting pure whites like this one here that is kind of hard to get. It's hard to get a white that doesn't have a touch of green or a little bit of another color coming through. Also exciting types are marble types. They have kind of a kind of almost tie-dye around the edge. And then we also have jingle varieties that are splotched almost like tie-dye as well, with different kinds of dots and patterns on the flowers. Let me correct myself, because these aren't actually flowers. The flowers are the tiny point in the middle that is almost inconsequential. You would never even notice it. What's happening is the colorful part are modified leaves called bracts, and those bracts are what we love because they're so showy, there's so much color that they put out, and the flowers we don't even notice. But when you're shopping for poinsettias, you really do want to look and see what's going on with those flowers and the little flower buds inside. It's best to buy poinsettias when the interior part, the little buds are tight and not open or showing pollen. The tighter the buds, the longer your poinsettias will last. But also you want to look obviously for a bush shape that's very tight. You want to make sure it looks great at 360 degrees, and also to make sure if you kind of look underneath that it doesn't have any yellowing leaves, which maybe it's been stressed by dryness or something else. And aside from color, it's also the size of the plants and also the way the flowers are constructed. So you'll have some poinsettias that you can buy that are very small, that are good for like an office or a desktop. You can also find some very large plants that will fill the corner of a room and make a really dramatic statement. As far as the flower shapes, some of them show an extra range of petals on the middle. And then also there's this type called a rose type where the middle is a little more kind of twisted, so it has the feeling of a rose. General care is very easy. It's just like a normal house plant. You want to make sure that it has bright and direct light, water when it's dry, make sure you keep it out of cold drafts, and also if you are transporting them from the store to the car, or if you're taking them to someone's house for the holidays, make sure you wrap it in plastic if it's below 50 degrees because they're very cold susceptible and they will respond poorly to temperatures below 50 degrees. But as I said, if you live in an area where it's frost-free, you can experiment with planting a poinsettia in the yard and seeing what kind of bush you get. I've seen them in California that grow quite tall. A lot of poinsettias, I was raised, my mom told me that poinsettias are poisonous and that they would, kill me and kill the dog and everything else, but they're actually not toxic. That's just kind of one of those self-perpetuating urban myths that's been happening, probably because euphorbia as a clan, this is a euphorbia. This is a very giant group of plants, and most of them have a milky sap that can be irritating to your skin and that you really don't want to get in your eyes. So this is out of the euphorbia group. This is probably less of an irritant, but it is still something you want to make sure when you're cutting them, or if you bruise a leaf, that milky sap, wash it off your hands pretty quickly and definitely don't get it in your eyes. And especially if you have a latex allergy, that will be even more irritating to your skin to have this kind of latex-like euphorbia sap on your skin as well. Because you're buying your poinsettias and bringing them into your home, there is a chance you might be importing some pests. A reliable grower, it'll come in pest-free, but since poinsettias are grown everywhere and sold most anywhere, you never know, you might be bringing in some whitefly. That is one pest they're prone to. They will be in a pot, often a plastic pot or a foil pot, so you might want to pop them inside a more decorative container, a cache-pot, which actually means just hidden pot or hide the pot. And that way you can have them in any sort of decor you want. They could be little tiny tabletop poinsettias on your dining table. You could put them on either side of the fireplace or on your mantle. You can also, get the large ones and use it almost like a Christmas tree. I've seen people before in their apartments, if they don't want to go with a full-size Christmas tree, they make a really large poinsettia be the centerpiece with gifts around it. So you can actually use them in a bunch of different ways. They're very versatile, and because of the color range, you can also play with all the colors and maybe not do something as traditional in red and green. You could go with some of the more salmon and peach colors and white and make a kind of a more fashionable statement as well. So as I said, most of us buy these every year and we enjoy them, and then when they're done, we pitch them. But if you are a gardener and you really don't want to throw away this plant, there are a series of very prescribed steps you have to do that relate to day length and making sure that the poinsettia has darkness, a certain amount of darkness every day. It's kind of a high maintenance process that can last many weeks and even a few months to try to get it to rebloom a year later. So we actually don't recommend that necessarily. We will have that information on the website around this store if you'd like to check out how to do it. But kind of like certain orchids and maybe even a Christmas cactus, which is a little easier to bring back for bloom, these plants do require a process that is fairly involved to get them to come back next year. And to be honest, many times they don't come back quite as full as this, so that's why most of us buy them fresh every year. So if you feel like you've been there, done that with poinsettias, try some of these new varieties to really elevate your holiday decor. Comment below and tell us why you love poinsettias. Don't forget to subscribe or turn on notifications so you don't miss anything from Better Homes and Gardens.